Welcome back to Investing Talk podcast. Today, we're tackling a really hot topic. Is Navitas Semiconductor a good time to buy now? It's a question dominating a lot of semiconductor talk. Our mission, as always, is to take this comprehensive stack of source material you've given us, sort of pull out the key facts, and give you a clear, critical look at this high-flying stock. And hey, if you find this analysis helpful, please do subscribe, like, and comment. Seriously, if there's a specific company you want us to explore next, just drop it in the comments below. We really tailor these conversations based on what you need to know.
Okay, let's dig in. Nvidia Semiconductor. I mean, it just exploded onto the scene, hasn't it? The stock surged nearly 400% year over year. That kind of move, well, it demands attention. Before we even glance at the charts, what's the core tech advantage here? Why is this company suddenly capturing so much interest?
Well, what's really fascinating, I think, is that the growth is genuinely rooted in the next frontier of material science. Navitas' whole business is built on these next-generation power chip technologies. We're talking specifically about gallium nitride GaN and silicon carbide, or 6XEC.
Okay.
And these aren't just, slightly better versions of old silicon. They represent a real step change. They're critical for high-performance, efficient power delivery.
And the practical side of that. Why do we care about GaN and SiC, especially, when a stock jumps 400%?
Great. Think about it like this. Powering those massive, dense AI servers, the Nvidia GPUs everyone talks about needs power delivery that cuts down heat and maximizes efficiency. That's where GaN and SiC come in. These chips allow for much higher switching frequencies, smaller designs. Basically, they waste less energy. And that lets engineers pack more computing power into the same space. So Navitas is positioned right at that sweet spot, that intersection of AI and power management.
Right, and looking back, say, the last 3 months, the single biggest piece of news that really hammered that point home has to be the Nvidia collaboration, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That announcement, new power devices designed specifically for Nvidia's AI factory architecture. That was the defining moment. It was basically a stamp of approval from the industry leader. It immediately validated Navitas' tech in the eyes of the market.
And here's the number that backs that up, that announcement. It drove a 33% gain in a single session back in October. Over the 5 days around that news, the stock returned a massive 96%. I mean, that kind of price action tells you the market sees this as more than just a one-off contract, right? It feels structural.
Precisely. It signals they've got a critical role in building out this foundational AI infrastructure. And interestingly, even after that huge run-up, the analysts we looked at have mostly kept a moderate buy consensus. They see the underlying tech advantage, the moat, even if the valuation looks, well, a bit stretched.
So just to recap that timeline quickly. The materials show gains really started building back in July. Investor confidence seemed to grow through August, maybe linked to product developments. And then bam, September and October saw that massive surge tied directly to the Nvidia ecosystem news. It's definitely been a momentum story.
Yeah, but before we get too swept up in the momentum, let's maybe pivot to the financials. Because the crucial question for you, the listener, is this. Does the balance sheet actually start to justify this huge price move? Or is it all just riding on future promises?
Good point. A 400% surge is one thing, but let's look under the hood. What did the latest reports actually say about revenue, and maybe more importantly, their path towards actually making money?
Okay, so the revenue trend is positive. Navitas reported $83.3 million in 2024. That's up 4.84% from 2023. Now, you'll immediately notice, 4.84% growth doesn't exactly scream 400% stock surge, does it?
Right, that's the disconnect.
And that's the core tension the market seems willing to accept right now.
So the market's clearly pricing in a lot of future growth. But how big is the current loss, and why are investors okay with it for now?
Well, they did still report a net loss, manic $84.6 million in 2024. But, and this is the key insight, this was actually a big improvement. It was 41.8% better year on year.
Okay, so the loss is shrinking.
Exactly. That trend shows improving operational efficiency, maybe a better product mix. It suggests a narrowing path towards break-even. It seems driven by higher margin sales, like those going into specialized AI and EV applications. The market's essentially betting that the older, low-margin stuff is fading away relative to these new high-growth, high-margin contracts that are coming online.
That narrowing loss is vital then. And looking at the balance sheet, the source material mentioned they have relatively modest debt compared to similar companies.
Yes, that's right.
And they're not paying a dividend, which, is pretty standard for a growth company plowing money back into R&D. That R&D spending is what builds their competitive advantage, presumably.
Precisely. That investment is what fuels their competitive moat. They aren't just selling generic chips. They have proprietary tech and that early mover advantage in GaN and SiCo.
Yeah.
And crucially, they're getting integrated into these strategic customer ecosystems.
Right. This inclusion in major OEM supply chains, original equipment manufacturer chains, it really amplifies their scale, doesn't it? Getting sort of locked into the Nvidia AI ecosystems, for example, means they potentially become the go-to for power efficiency in these really fast-growing areas. Makes it much harder for competitors to muscle in later.
Exactly. It builds stickiness.
Okay, let's switch gears then. Let's talk technical outlook. What are the charts telling us, and what should investors maybe expect over the next, say, 3 months? The stock's clearly in a bullish pattern, year-to-date gains over 100%.
Yeah, the technical momentum is undeniably strong. The price action is consistently well above both the 50-day simple moving average that's currently around $7.01 and the 200-day SMA, which is down at $4.76. Trading above these long-term averages like that, it tends to reinforce bullish sentiment, suggests a sustained period of accumulation.
So what does that accumulation suggest for the near-term trading range you found in the sources?
Well, the outlook suggests a potential 3-month trading range between $15.02 and $19.34. It seems to be operating within a pretty clear bullish channel, with what looks like strong support around the $14.50 mark. We also need to look at the momentum indicators like the Relative Strength Index, the RSI. It's sitting at 64.41.
Can you break that down for the listener? What does 64.41 actually mean in practical terms?
Sure. The RSI measures the speed and change of price movements. Generally, a reading between 30 and 70 is seen as stable momentum. So 64.41 is below that traditional overbought level of 70. This suggests there could still be upside potential without necessarily needing a major pullback right away.
Even with the high volatility.
Right? Even though the stock's volatility is high, sitting at 30.5%, the momentum reading itself isn't flashing immediate warning signs of being overstretched.
Okay, and we absolutely have to talk about that volatility. The source material flags a high beta of 3.02. For the listener, what's the risk implication of a beta that high?
Yeah, that's a really fundamental risk we can't just gloss over. Beta measures how sensitive a stock is to overall market swings. A beta of 3.02 basically means that for every 1% move in the broader market, Navitas tends to move about 3.02% in the same direction, up or down.
Wow.
It really underscores its status as a high-risk, high-reward play. It makes it incredibly sensitive to any sector corrections or, wider macroeconomic shocks.
Okay, so given that high volatility, let's pinpoint the critical near-term events, the stuff we know is coming up in the next 90 days or so that could really dictate the stock's next move.
November looks absolutely crucial. First up, the Q3 earnings report, expected around November 1st. This report, well, it's expected to show continued year-over-year revenue improvement, but investors will be laser-focused on the rate at which that net loss is shrinking. A significant beat there could easily trigger the next leg up.
Right. And we also have some market mechanics like ETF rebalancing around November 15th. That could push institutional money around, couldn't it?
It could, yeah. Creates flows. And then looking a bit further out, into January around the 10th, we should see the institutional bias analysis. That will give a clearer picture of whether the big institutional players kept buying shares after the big Nvidia partnership news.
Confirmation of conviction, basically.
Exactly. And you also can't ignore the speculative side, the rumors that often fuel momentum in these kinds of stocks. There's chatter about deeper, longer-term integration with Nvidia's future AI architectures, which would be huge, potentially locking Navitas in for years. Plus, there's speculation about maybe new GaN or SiC products designed for really cutting-edge stuff, like quantum computing. These rumors, even if only partly true, add a lot of fuel to the fire.
Okay, so it's a complex picture, isn't it? You've got immense technological validation, strong momentum, but offset by this high volatility and the fact they're still losing money overall. What are the key risks that specifically challenge this bullish story?
Right. This brings us back to sustainability. Beyond that high beta we talked about, the execution risk is just massive. There's still a growth company expanding rapidly. That puts enormous stress on everything, supply chain management, delivering on R&D promises.
Things can go wrong easily at that speed.
They can. Furthermore, perhaps the most critical financial stability risk highlighted in our material is customer concentration. The sources suggest a really significant chunk of their revenue comes from just a handful of major customers. That includes those big AI partnerships everyone's excited about.
That sounds like a potential single point of failure, doesn't it? If one of those key customers hits a snag or walks away, what happens to that revenue projection? That's got to make investors a bit nervous.
It absolutely should. It ties their fortunes very directly to the success and the continued business of just a few key partners. And finally, there's the sector risk itself. Competition is heating up fast. The established silicon giants, they're not standing still. They're investing heavily in GaN and CSE too.
Trying to catch up.
Exactly. And that could eventually start to erode Navitas' early mover advantage and put some serious pressure on those high margins they need down the line.
Okay, let's try and bring this all together for you, the listener. Weighing the accelerating revenue, the tech edge, against the very real volatility and the current losses. What's the final investment thesis emerging from the material?
Well, based on everything we reviewed, the overall outlook seemed to lean towards an overall bullish rating. Pretty strong, actually maybe a 9 out of 10. The market is clearly prioritizing that future potential, the revenue growth story, and the technological validation, especially post-Nvidia, over the current lack of profitability.
So what does that mean in terms of holding period? Is this just a short-term trade based on the November earnings excitement?
You know, it actually seems potentially suitable for both approaches. The near-term catalyst, like that upcoming November earnings report, any potential new partnership news, that they make it attractive for short-term trading, assuming you're comfortable with that high beta, that volatility.
Right.
But the underlying long-term story, driven by structural growth in huge markets like AI, electric vehicles, and maybe even energy infrastructure, that makes it a compelling long-term investment too, provided, and this is a big caveat, provided management continues to execute almost flawlessly.
That's a very strong, very clear summary. Thanks.
Before we wrap up, let me just leave you with maybe one provocative thought to chew on. Given the incredibly high valuation right now, that 400% surge against, let's be honest, fairly modest current revenue growth of 4.84%, you have to ask, will Navitas' future success depend solely on validating these really high-flying rumors? Specifically, does the stock need to land another unconfirmed major deal, maybe like getting into a Tier 1 consumer electronics supply chain, say someone like Apple, just to maintain its current lofty price, let alone push higher? Just think about how much future good news might already be baked into today's stock price.
That question of margin of safety, that's definitely something for you to analyze further. Thank you for joining us for this look at Navitas Semiconductor. We really hope this has helped clarify the picture and given you the context you need to navigate the next few months with this stock. Until next time, keep analyzing your source material, and we'll talk soon.